Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and gonna show some records. Why not, right? Um, a good little batch here, so let's get started. This is a box set, the latest deluxe box set from Marillion for the album Holidays in Eden, in a deluxe box set. This one contains the album Holidays in Eden remastered. And there's also three other records in here that had it upside down. There's three other records in here that is a live concert back from this era at the Hammersmith. September 30th, 1991 was the date on that, and that's on three records. Altogether, a 4-record set. Really cool stuff here. Let me show you just what these albums look like. First of all, it came with this autograph card from the band members. So, band members of Marillion there. Very nice. Every one of these deluxe boxes, of course, comes with a book with some stories from the times of recording this album, what the band was going through, and pictures from this time period, which was 1991. Just to put you back during that time, really. To go back in time and just see what was going on with Marillion as they were preparing to record this record. And a really cool record it is. There's a good larger picture of them. And yeah, so really good collection here. And this is the remastered album for Holidays in Eden. This is the sleeve for it. Really good album too. A little bit more commercial sounding on this one. I guess the record label was pressuring them to make a more radio accessible record because it kind of sounds like it on some tracks, not all tracks. At least to me it does. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad album. Splintering Heart opens this album. Great song. Cover My Eyes was basically supposed to be the big single. The Party's a great song. No One Can, Dryland, they're all good songs. They sound a little kind of poppy in a way, and but that's not to say it's bad. I actually think they're good songs. Really good songs. Now, like I said, the next three albums, and here we are all the live recordings from 1991. And I won't show both records, but this is a really good live recording. I really liked the live recording that was picked for this. It sounds great. Good combination of the newer Marillion songs back then and the older songs, more or less the Fish era songs. Really good collection here. I love collecting their deluxe box sets. I wouldn't say I have them all. I got them right here if you could see. The only one I think I'm missing is Fugazi, only because I have it as a CD and DVD package, and that was enough for me. I still got to order the CD and DVD package for this album, Holidays in Eden, because I'm really anxious to see the documentary that comes with it. They all come with documentaries and videos from that time, so it's always an interesting thing to listen to, and the surround sound mixes on it are really good too. And so I'm finding out these deluxe box sets, so really good stuff. One of my favorite albums from the Hogarth era of Marillion. I really do like this album, even though it does have a poppy sound to it. I still think they're good songs. I still enjoy listening to them. I had an original pressing of this, original UK pressing of this album, but it's so good to have the box set. I really love this. I can't wait to order the CD and DVD set. That should be great. Alright, moving on here. Some 80s hard rock or hair metal, whatever you want to call it. Well, not really metal, but you know what I mean. You'll know what I mean when I say it. This is from Cinderella. This is a Heartbreak Station. I had a few months back, I bought a live record from Cinderella Cinderella in 1998 from the Key Club in Hollywood. And they sang a lot of songs from this album on their live record. It ended up being a great live record. I listened to it a lot. One of my favorites. And a lot of my favorite songs came from this album. And I remember when this came out back in the 90s. I really wasn't a big fan of it, so I didn't buy it. Because I really wasn't a fan of the song called Shelter Me. Just back then, I just wasn't feeling it. All these years later, now I think thanks to that live record I bought, I think it's a pretty cool song. So it made me curious to listen to this album, and it's a great album. It really is a good album. I actually enjoyed spinning this one a lot. It's on colored vinyl on the Vertigo label. Really nice looking record. You can see there, really nice. I love that Vertigo label. I don't have many records with that Vertigo label. The Flying Saucer Vertigo label. Really like that. I really like that. So anytime I could score a record with that label, big plus. And like I said, ever since I listened to that live record, they did a lot of songs off of this album in the live record. It made me curious about this. And better late than never. Better late than never. A really good album. I wish I had bought it when it was brand new. I was listening to this kind of music back then, in those years. Just didn't appeal to me then. But as we get older, we go back to things that we should have picked up on. And this is definitely one record I should have picked up on when it was new. But hey, better late than never, right? Really fun album to spin. I enjoy that a lot. This one I'm glad is finally on vinyl, because I've been wanting this for a while. From Def Leppard, Adrenalize. When this was first released, I bought it on a cassette. I didn't think it was the best Def Leppard album, but I still thought it was good. And this actually came out on vinyl a few years ago, but it was a part of an 80s box set from Def Leppard, so it was all their albums from the 80s, which I already have on vinyl. I was just missing this one. And it was a pretty expensive box set. I think it was like $150 or so, something really high priced. And I didn't really want to pay that much money if I'm only after one album, this one. So this has finally been released as a single album release. You don't have to buy a whole box set just to get it, and I'm really happy. Like I said, not their best album, but a good album from Def Leppard. This is... They released this album after their guitarist Stephen Clark passed away. So that's why there's only 4 of them there. So I remember at this point everybody thought the band was cursed. You know, you got a drummer that loses an arm, then their guitar player dies. People were starting to say the band was cursed. They just rolled with the punches, that's all it was. Custom label there, very nice. I'll show you the other side of the labels. So really nice package here. A pretty good album. Sounds great on vinyl, so I'm really glad to put this in my Def Leppard collection. I kind of stopped listening to them after this album. After this album, I kind of lost interest in Def Leppard. I remember the album after this, they had a song called Paper Sun I really liked, but never bothered to listen to or even scored the album after this. I don't even remember what it's called. But I just remember it had one song I did like, which was Paper Sun. Yeah, so I actually saw Def Leppard on this tour when they were promoting this album, and it was a really, really good show. Sold out show in Sacramento. They played live in the round. It was a real good night, and so I got a lot of good memories attached to this album, so it's nice to finally have it on vinyl. Thank God I didn't have to buy that box set. I had to wait quite a few years, but I eventually put it in the collection. Here's a first for me. I don't have any albums or CDs or cassettes of any record from this band. It is the Guess Who. The album is American Woman. This is a music on vinyl pressing. Hopefully that can be seen. Music on vinyl. Really nice pressing of this album. You know, I didn't realize how many songs I knew from this album. Of course, I know American Woman. Everybody knows that one. And Lenny Kravitz remade it a few years back. So very popular song. But I also know the song No Time and No Sugar Tonight and New Mother Nature, because they play those songs constantly on classic rock radio. So I thought it would be cool, since I don't own any albums from this band, to have this. And it's the RCA Victor label. It's actually a really good album, and this came out in 1969. And as I was spinning this record, just chilling out with it, I thought to myself, I bet you this was a powerhouse of a record. If you were a young person into music, into rock music back in 1969, I bet you this album was badass when it came out. It was probably one of your favorites, I would imagine, 'cause it's a really good album. I really did enjoy this. I wasn't familiar with any songs on side 2, but I was pretty entertained by this album. I enjoyed it, so maybe I'll pick up more of their records, maybe a live record, because I know they have a couple of live records out there. So the Guess Who, American Woman, turned out to be a very good score, and I got a good pressing of it. Sounds fantastic on the turntable. It really does sound fantastic. And this is just one of those bands that, you know, you don't realize how many songs you know by them until you start getting into the records, and you're like, wow, why didn't I pick up this record before? Because I actually really enjoyed it. So Guess Who, American Woman. It's been a while since I bought one of these kinds of records. This is basically a live radio broadcast for the band Tears for Fears and the Thompson Twins. It was on the King Biscuit Flower Hour. If you, any of you people my age remember that live radio show. Every now and then I'll run across these live records. It comes with the cue sheet as well from the broadcast. Let me see if I got... And the broadcast date on this particular show was on the December 1st of 1985. It was only 15 years old back then. And it is the whole radio show on a single record. It even has the commercials from back in the day from Levi Strauss and Zales Jewelry and Budweiser. And it features 20 minutes of each band, Tears for Fears and the Thompson Twins. And the reason I was so interested in this is because I can't recall there being any, well, at least official live recordings from Tears for Fears from 1985. And this has been when they were promoting their big successful album, Songs from the Big Chair. So you hear, you know, songs like Shout and... Well, Shout's not on this album, but Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Head Over Heels. So, and there's the label, basically the radio show logo. So really cool. So I decided it'd be cool to get, because I can't think of any official record, a live record for Tears for Fears from '85. And I'm sure there's bootlegs out there, but I've never seen one, at least not in a while. So I thought this would be an interesting buy, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. It's something rare. And I like both bands. I like Thompson Twins as well. This ended up being a pretty good album, and it's kind of rare because, you know, like I said, I can't think of any professionally recorded live recordings of Tears for Fears during the 1985 tour on vinyl. So this is the first I've ever seen of one. So I quickly jumped on it and was really surprised and happy from what I was hearing from it. It was a great album. This is a great radio show, actually. And the songs from Thompson Twins sounded great, too. So they captured two great nights for both bands. So really great show. So the King Biscuit Flower Hour featuring Tears for Fears and the Thompson Twins. Really cool. Basically, if you're an 80s fan, really cool. All right, let's see. Speaking of the 80s, here's one from Howard Jones. This record's not from the 80s, though. For the album In the Running, by Howard Jones. This is one of his remasters. It's a limited edition on 140-gram translucent clear vinyl. So it is a remaster of this album. I've been buying a lot of his remasters from the past, from the 80s and early 90s. This was the last one I think I didn't have. I've really been enjoying them. Slowly getting them for the last year and a half or so. And like I said, this is the last one I didn't have. And he sounds more like a 90s, early 90s adult contemporary artist on this album. So the synth pop sound is pretty much gone. Which is funny. He just released an album and now that 80s synth pop feel is back. So he abandoned it for a little bit because, you know, you got to change with the times. But this is actually, if you're into that mellow 90s kind of adult contemporary sound, at least that's what it sounds to me, this is actually a pretty good album. I was actually pretty happy with this. Because I only knew a couple of songs on here, and that was Lift Me Up and Two Souls. Those were the only songs I knew from this album. The rest of the songs on here, it was a real mystery to me because I never heard it before. But I ended up really enjoying this album. But it's one of those albums you got to be in the mood for. You can't just put it on any old time. I kind of have to be in the mood for this. But when I am in the mood, this album delivers, and it sounds really good. And I really enjoy it. In fact, I can't wait to spin it again. It would be fun. Maybe tonight and pour myself a cold drink and just chill with it. I mean, it's a good album to chill with. There we go. So Howard Jones, In the Running, remaster. All right, a couple of weeks, about a month ago, I did a tribute to Olivia Newton-John video because she had passed away, sadly. So I thought I wanted to pick up more vinyl from her. And she actually does have a reissue out. This is the, what's this? This is the 50th anniversary, limited edition, of Olivia Newton-John's debut album, If Not For You. So this is the 50th anniversary edition for If Not For You, her very first album. And, oh, look at this picture. I can't tell you how much I miss her. I still can't believe she is gone. I miss her so much. As I said in my tribute video to her. Oh, man. So this is remastered from the original mastered tapes, analog tapes. And if I could just get the record out, jeez. There we go. Here's the insert with a couple of photos from back in 1970, I believe, or 72 originally. So nice. Very nice. And custom labels. Really cool album. I love her voice on all these country. I'm starting to collect her country records from the 70s. Because when I was a fan of Olivia Newton-John, it was more or less in the 80s. And anything she did after Grease is when I was a fan of. And I've never been like a really big country music fan ever. But because I enjoy her voice so much, I actually been enjoying her country albums. I've bought a lot of them lately since she's passed away from the 70s, and I think they all sound really good. I wish I had bought them earlier while she was still around. But I have really been enjoying the country albums, and this one is particularly good. It has the Banks of the Ohio. I remember that song. That's a great one. If Not For You, which was originally written by Bob Dylan. She sings it very well on here. Oh, such a great song. There's another one here called Love Song, which to me sounds spectacular. Probably my favorite song on the album is Love Song, and her voice sounds amazing on it. And the song is perfect for her voice. Great track, great track. I really love going back in time with these albums. Especially with her voice. So good, so good. And she has a version of me and Bobby McGee on here, which I really like a lot. This is a really good album. Really glad I picked up the anniversary pressing. I should go out and find the CD. The CD of this has so many extra tracks that the vinyl record does not have. And something tells me I might be hunting for the CD since I enjoyed the record so much. And like I said, besides this one, I have a lot of her country albums. and they have really been sounding good. Really good. And yeah, I have been enjoying collecting her for the last month or so, because after she passed away, I really felt the need to dig more into her discography, and it's been a treasure. I wasn't going to show these records, but since I just showed you that one, I want to show you this one. This is the one I was really after in this past month, and it's her Greatest Hits Volume 1. And it's basically her best of for all the country sounding country songs that she would sing on in her early career before she did the movie Grease. This is a great collection. I actually love this collection. If Not For You, Changes, Let Me Be There, If You Love Me, Let Me Know, I Honestly Love You, Have You Ever Been Mellow, Please Mr. Please, Something Better to Do, Let It Shine, Come On Over, Don't Stop Believing, and the gorgeous ballad Sam. Really good collection of her country tunes. They sound so spectacular on here. MCA Records label. This is about to be getting a repressing, this Greatest Hits Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's coming in a 2-record set on colored vinyl. I think it's going to be released sometime next month, and I most likely, because I've been on Olivia kick buying her records ever since she passed away, I most likely will probably get that when it's released. I don't see why I wouldn't now, since I kind of been on the hunt for her albums. Such a good record, such a good collection. So Olivia Newton-John, Greatest Hits Volume 1, and I also got this one, which is her album Come On Over. Has the song Jolene on it, the Dolly Parton cover. Really good. Her voice sounds spectacular on that, and I really love the photo on the inner sleeve. Very nice. I think this is also MCA. Yeah, MCA with a rainbow label. So, very good album as well. Like I said, her voice sounds amazing on all these songs. She even does a cover of the Beatles song Long and Winding Road, which I really liked. She has such a beautiful voice. Just can't get over it. High quality. She is like one of my favorite singers. Definitely one of my favorite female singers. But one of my favorite singers, period, of all time. I loved her voice. And I'm so happy I'm finally getting into her later records. I'll show you one more that I got, because I'm telling you, I was on a kick. I found this rare compilation that was pretty cool, which was called First Impressions. This is a UK pressing of the album. And it's just a compilation of songs from her first 3 studio albums to get fans more acquainted with her work. So, compilation of songs from her first 3 albums. That's on the EMI label. Really good. The song Love Song is featured on here too, which, like I said, her voice sounds great on that song. Probably one of my favorite of her older songs. Great song. And this is a really good compilation. Really glad I got this. It's not one I see around too much. I found it in a record shop, a used record shop, and it wasn't that expensive either. So I think I got it for like $8 or $9. I thought it was a bargain, because I don't see this one around very much. So really cool, really cool. So now you're seeing how obsessed I've been with Olivia Newton-John's albums. All right, last record, and I should have put this one out, but I forgot about it. Another live record. I'm a big fan of live records, and particularly from this band. It's a live record from Journey, live in Houston during the Escape Tour in 1981. This is when the band was huge, and they were just hit after hit in the early 80s, and they were a big band. I mean, since they're from the Bay Area, they were huge around here. So when they would throw concerts, it was an event around here. And this is, I've had this on DVD some years now, and the DVD came with a CD of this entire show, and it sounded great on CD. So it's nice to finally have this on vinyl. Of course, these are songs that I've heard a million times on classic rock radio. We all know them: "Don't Stop Believing," "Open Arms," "Any Way You Want It," "Wheel in the Sky," "Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'." These are really popular songs on classic rock radio that get played daily, hundreds of times. So no excuses there. So there we go. But it's still great to have a live record of all this. This is on colored vinyl. This is record 2, and it's on red vinyl, as you can see. Really nice. And while I had the other record out, I should have showed you, because it is, I think it's on white vinyl. I should have took it out. Yeah, white vinyl. So there we are. So the usual songs on here that we hear on radio all the time are on here, as well as the song "Stone in Love." But there's a live version here of "Mother Father," which is probably one of my favorite Journey songs from the Escape album during this time era. I really love it, and the live version is really good. Steve Perry's voice sounds awesome on that song, on the live version of that song as well. And of course it has Steve Smith drum solo, it has Jonathan King piano solo, really, and Neil Sean's guitar solo is included on here as well. Has some great live music. This is a really good set. I've spun it a couple times since I've had it, and I always have a great time with this. So I'm glad I finally broke down and bought it, even though I've had it on CD for a while. It's great to have it on vinyl. Anyway, that's going to do it. That's my big record haul. Olivia Newton-John haul as well. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing these albums. Leave me a comment so we can have a discussion about them. I just want to hear from you guys. Love when you guys leave comments and say something to me. I love getting back to you guys and a little exchange with everyone. It's always fun. Alright, hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.